I went through all of these things and I wasn't even aware until it was too late.
Welcome to PS Live, where we talk about motherhood, fatherhood, and all that other good shit. I am your host, Jessica Shari, but you can call me Jess. Today we have a beautiful guest, another dope ass Jess. Jessica H. What's good, girl? How you doing?
Hey.
Can you introduce yourself to the people a little bit? Tell us a little about yourself, what you do.
Well, my name is Jessica H. I founded Motivating Mommy. I founded Motivating Mommy. Well, first, what Motivating Mommy is, it is a support group for mothers our goal is to encourage our mothers, inspire them just to fall in love with who you were before you became a mom, who you are outside of a mom, and just remember who that is. And this group is just here to just motivate you to continue to keep going. Don't give up on your dreams. Yes, you did have a child, or you may have children, but don't be discouraged to just be who you are. And this group is just here, just like I said, just to just keep you motivated in doing that, because we will sometimes, like, get discouraged because we have our kids, we have all these other things going on that may hinder us from doing that, but we don't want you to feel as if you can't because of that.
Right.
And just with all of the battles that I, faced as being a mom myself, I wanted to have something that I wanted, while I was going through my pregnancy or while I was going through depression, all those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's the same reason why I started mine. I'm like, listen, this is what I really needed to hear. This is what I needed
Mm-hmm.
to be when I was a mom. So I think that's amazing. What do you think is, well, at first, how many kids do you have? And did you always want to have kids?
So I only have one. Not that I didn't want kids, but it was just something that I never really thought about. Like, it was always, okay, let's finish school and then we'll figure out all that other stuff later. Like, I never really thought about if, kids were going to be in the picture. But once I had my son, I don't honestly think I would have been able to live life without having children. Okay. But I was just saying, just after I had my son, I don't think that I could really think of a time to where my life really would be anything without having children.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. What do
that's
you think
it.
is like the hardest thing you've realized being, that comes with being a mom?
Um, I think the hardest thing is just remembering that it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes, because especially like when you when you're just a regular, just you don't have any children, you make your mistakes and things like that, and it's easier to just get back up and keep going. But when you have children, you're like, oh, I can't, make this mistake because I have somebody depending on me. It's still okay for you to make those mistakes. And it took me a while to remember, to understand that, because I'm like, okay, I have my son who's depending on me. I have to be perfect, but you
Right.
don't have to be perfect. You can make mistakes and you can get back up and you can keep going.
Right. Absolutely. So let's go back a little bit. I know. How did you find out you were pregnant?
Oof, how I found that I was pregnant. It was a weekend that I was spending with my friends. We were having this girls' weekend. It was actually a weekend of partying and everything. I'm like, after like the weekend was over, I'm like, I don't feel good. I'm like, I know, like I was drinking all weekend, but I'm like, something, just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And so, what happened? We actually went swimming that day. So we went swimming, and it's I don't can't remember like what the actual temperature was, but it was hot. So we come back to my friend's apartment, and at this point in time, I'm freezing. Like I'm like, okay, y'all, I'm cold. I'm tired, and I'm like, so I'm knocked out. So they're like, joking around, like, you pregnant? So I was like, no, I'm not. Like
Right.
this is nothing. I'm like, I just got done swimming. Like that's why I'm tired. Like we had a long, like weekend. And so just a few things just like started changing. I'm like, okay, maybe so. Like, let me go um take the test, and lo and behold, I was pregnant.
Uh,
So
Finding out you pregnant.
yeah.
That's did it take you a while to
It
like
was
kind of
like
accept that you
when I
were?
went to take the test, I was like, you said what? you
Oh,
know,
I said, did it take you a while to like really just accept that when it sunk in? Like, wait, like, pregnant?
yeah. I mean, it in that moment, like I was like, you said I'm what? Like, are you sure? But it didn't really hit me until like I had my first ultrasound. And that's when I was like, okay, this is real. You know,
Yeah,
there's a heartbeat, this is real. You're pregnant, your life is about to change.
right. Nah, that's that shit. It definitely hits different when you see the little beacon on the
Mm-hmm.
screen. Like, wait, what? Did you have any complications with your pregnancy?
um, I didn't have like any major complications. I went through a lot of depression through my pregnancy, which caused me to go through a lot of stress. So my son was almost a month early. So they told me that, had I had him any earlier, that he would have been premature. So like that's like the only thing that I really had. Um, but with that, with my son being early, I wasn't able to produce my milk. So which caused I wasn't able to breastfeed. So like that's so other than that, that was like the only thing that I, as far as like the complications that I had.
Yeah. So since you had depression during your pregnancy, do you think you had did it turn into postpartum depression like really bad, or?
Yeah, it definitely turned into postpartum depression just because I went through a really bad breakup with his father. So with going through that, and then with going through the really bad breakup, I lost my job, so I wasn't able to provide for my son. So like that was going through my head. Just then leaving, having to leave his father, like all of those, just made everything, worse. So I definitely went through postpartum really bad, which is why I started motivating mommy, because it's like I went through all of these things and I wasn't even aware until it was too late.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. Like I was, searching like, what am I going through? Like why do I feel like this? And by the time I realized, like I said, it was too late. I had already, I was just I was already so wrapped up in it that it took a miracle for me to figure out how to get out.
Yeah.
So,
Uh, No, it's crazy because you would think more people would talk about postpartum depression and like what you're
Hmm.
going through, and you don't realize like, and sometimes until you even look back that you really dealt with a lot. You know, how
Hmm.
you what you said, it might take a miracle for you to get out. How did you kind of start pulling yourself out of it, or have you, or do you still kind of deal with like that depression a bit?
Um, Sometimes I do, feel as if I do still have it. What I did start doing is I started going to therapy.
Okay.
And what I realized is that, I'm not actually going right now. Coronavirus actually kind of helped kind of stop that. But at the same time, I was kind of feeling as if it was kind of time to just either move on to a new therapist or that it just wasn't for me. But
Yeah.
I've also I started focusing on myself, putting back into myself and just focusing on my self care and just realizing that in order for me to raise my son to be a healthy child, I have to be healthy
Yeah.
because I can't pour from an empty cup. So once I started realizing that and I started just pouring back into myself and finding things that made me happy again and just focusing on how to better myself, that allowed me to like kind of just grab myself and just like pull myself out because I'm like, okay, I have something to live for. I have something to keep, to keep myself going. If I continue to go through this way and I can motivate myself and then also motivating mommy actually is something that also helped me pull myself out. It wasn't at the time, it wasn't called motivating mommy because I really didn't know, really what I wanted it to be. But just working on that and going through what I was going through and saying, okay, well, I can use this to help somebody else. I'm going through this, to help this person, and I was allowing my test that I was going through to see how I could help motivate and encourage other people. So I'm like, okay, well, if I can just keep going, then I can show somebody else how to get through it.
Yeah. That's real. I feel the same way. I think Prego and shit. One, I was really broken a lot too once I had my son. So I think, like I was telling you earlier, just going through my depression and stuff. I was putting out videos and I was
Hmm.
things and trying to encourage other people. You don't realize, like you said, like you kind of start to heal in that process. You become kind of
Hmm.
whole again when you're trying to help somebody else. It's like, yeah, it's wild. Can we talk about a little bit other? You said therapy. What other things were you doing like for your self care, and what did that kind of look like for you?
So what I started doing is I started back journaling, and just writing to myself, or well, when I would write to myself, or I still do, I start trying to just speak things into existence and just say, yes, you're going through this right now, but this trouble is not going to last always. You're not going to always go through this. This may seem like it's the worst day of your life, but if you keep going, it's not going to last, and I try to give myself time to just relax and just do absolutely nothing, even if it's where I have to say, okay, I need, I need a break. I need my son to be gone. I need the house to myself to where I'll light my candles and turn some music on, or just take a nice shower, a nice bath, and just relax. So that way I give myself that time to say, okay, everything else that's going on, I'm not going to think about it right now. I'm going to just say, I'm just going to live in this moment and I'm just going to breathe.
Yeah,
And so doing that also helps because it allows me to just unplug and say, okay, let's really just release and let go of everything, that may be going on that's negative, and just, remembering all of the positive things about myself, remember the positive things about the situation. So that way, when I look at, all of the good that is happening from whatever it is that I may be going through, it allows me to say, okay, well, maybe this is helping me so I can benefit from this. Just finding ways to benefit from, the situations I'm going
Absolutely. Um, I was like, what do, uh, what would you say to that mom who's still in that dark place though? Either they just had the baby, they're just coming to terms with having the postpartum depression, or they just um, they just had the breakup. They just had, they're in that dark space. Exactly. And
through. I would say find someone to have in your corner. Someone, it doesn't have to be, or find something to give you that therapy.
yeah,
Therapy, the therapy setting isn't for everyone, but everyone needs therapy. Everyone needs that time to be able to unwind. And if you are going through postpartum, speak to someone about it. Let someone know what you are feeling, so that way they can find ways to help you. Because if you never let anyone know anything that you're going through, then you're going to continue to fight this battle alone, and no one deserves to fight that battle alone. So, and just let somebody know, and you can get through it. You can overcome it. It's not something that has to take over you. You don't have to let it, just find some ways that, you can start putting back into yourself, finding ways that, doing things that you love again, finding ways to do things with your children that you love, creating new memories, just doing different things that bring out brighter days.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and then last question, where do you see mommy motivation going in the future, or motivating mommies?
Um, Honestly, I don't know. Um, the sky is the limit. Whatever God has for motivating mommy is what I'm going to let happen. I know that motivating mommy was given to me for a reason. Um, I was I was given the tests and the trials that I went through for a reason. So the sky is the limit. Well, whatever is in store for motivating mommy, I wanted to encourage. I want to encourage as many, excuse me, as many mothers as I can. I want as many mothers to fall back in love with themselves. I want to do as much as I can. So I'm trying to go as far as I can. Like I said, the sky is the limit.
Absolutely. And with that, I think we're good. Absolutely, the sky is the limit for sure. I want to thank Jess for being on here. I think
You're
motivating
welcome.
I think motivating mommy is phenomenal. The page is amazing. I was just on a Zoom call with her that motivated me. Quite frankly, got me feeling back good because I've been discouraged. So I'm gonna have the links to the group and the page and everything down in the description. So you guys definitely check that out. Um, yeah. So thank you again. Um,
You're welcome.
and until next time.
Alrighty, see you. Bye.
Bye.